Hi, I'm Sophie Costin. I'm a learning designer at Brightwave. I never really worked towards being a learning designer, primarily because I didn't know what one was. When I was very young, I wanted to be a novelist. When I was a bit older, I wanted to be a journalist. And then when I was at university, I decided I wanted to be a curator. I think inadvertently, with all those ambitions, I've managed to find a role in learning designer that encompasses all those things and fulfills those kind of creative needs. When I left university, I just needed a job. I needed some money really quickly, and so I interviewed to be a recruitment consultant. I decided that was a good sort of entry-level job where I could get money really quickly. And I had this interview and I thought it was going to be perfect. The interview went really well, but by the end the guy said to me, "I'm not going to give you this job. You're going to hate this job. You should be a learning designer." And that was the first time I'd ever heard this as a job title. I had no idea what it was. And I was so pleased that this role existed. It really did feel like it pulled all these things together that I was really interested in and I was good at. And some of these things that I'm good at, it's hard to find a value for them. It's things like writing and communication. They're almost nice to haves in other jobs, but in this job it's fundamental, it's what you do. And I was like, this is perfect. I suppose my guiding principle is that everything is interesting. So much of what we do is actually about behaviour change. People sometimes come to us with a sort of list of information that they want people to know, but there's a step beyond that. By knowing that information, what they really want is for their learning group to change the way they do something. And you don't just get people to change the way they do something by telling them. You've got to inspire them, you've got to capture their imagination somehow. I've been working recently with the University of Greenwich on a course aimed at 14 to 19-year-olds. Its purpose is to help them plan their future career. It was originally a paper-based workbook that the University of Greenwich would take into schools and go through with the classes. So our challenge was to make this into a meaningful digital experience that could be used as a standalone course. That was a really interesting challenge, how you take something that's already a functioning sort of paper object and make it digital. And some things become much easier in digital form. Other things are surprisingly harder. So I wanted to create something that was fun, that was engaging, but also it had to be something that people could really use as a reflection point to really understand their skills and their motivations. They come from often disadvantaged backgrounds, maybe school isn't naturally for them. They have certain preconceived notions of classroom education, that sort of thing, and often it can be a bit of a turn-off for them. So we had to think closely about how we were going to address that, how we were going to turn it on its head. The team's done a wonderful job here, so you see the art direction, the look and feel of this course it's just really attention-grabbing. Occasionally this plane zooms across. There's no learning point in it specifically, but when we interviewed some Year 10 students, they all loved it. It was all their favourite part. Also, we've sort of introduced some gaming elements. So there's a score here, and at the end of each topic you answer a question to build your score, test your knowledge. And also your name is drawn through for the LMS. As soon as you log in, the course greets you. One of my favourite aspects of this course are 4 characters called Ishmael, Anna and Gina and David, and they're going on a development journey too. They're at various ages, various stages, and they want to do different things. So one of them wants to be a game designer, one of them wants to be an astronaut, there's a mechanic and a carer in there as well. So it represents a good sort of breadth of abilities, aspirations and stages of progression. So you follow these characters through on their development journey, and you are tested and quizzed based on what you think they should be doing. It helps build understanding in a way that sort of builds empathy and creates engagement. And then at the end you find out what they are doing in 10 years' time. This kind of storytelling element I think adds a lot of value and creates this real sort of trail through the course and an occasion for the content. One thing on the technical front that's been done that's very clever is there's this initial quiz that asks you to think about what skills you have, and it's all done a bit like the sort of Facebook quizzes you might see all the time, asking you how would you act in this situation, what would you do here, how would you feel about this. And once you've answered all these questions, it reflects those answers back to you. So you have a kind of log of where you're doing really well in terms of skills, where there's room for improvement, and where you're an expert is what we've called it. So not only is this reflected back to you at the end of the quiz there, which you can then make a note of, it's also reflected back at various other points in the learning as well, and we use it for reflection exercises. I think learning design is probably 40% science, 60% art. So there's learning theory underpinning everything we do. I always make sure there's a strong learning model at the heart of everything I design. But on top of that, you've got to use your intuition and you've got to use your creativity to make that science something that people can really engage with. When a project goes right, it's always because the whole team's pulled together, and that's both on the client side and in our side as well. I mean, we are used to working as a team. We're a very sort of tight team here. But when the client really gets involved as well, and it just becomes sort of one big endeavour, where we have this, clear goal of what we're working to, that always gets the best results.
I learned something.